Hi, everybody. This is Hondo Carpenter from Sports Illustrated's Fan Nation Las Vegas Raiders Insider Podcast. Got a lot I want to talk to you about this morning. Well, I don't know when you're watching this. This is very, very early in the morning, probably somewhere around 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning on Wednesday. So we got a lot going on I want to discuss with you today about the team and just some observations. Let's start right at the top. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah to all of you. Appreciate all of you. Thank you for listening. Hope you are able to get to spend this time with some people that you love. We all know that family isn't just blood. It's people that you love and care for who are loyal to you and are there and part of your life. So from me to you, I want you to know I don't take for granted that you guys bounce in here every day and join me on the podcast. And so I appreciate you. I'm grateful for you. And I read a story, I say recently, but within the last few months, about people not feeling appreciated. And it was really interesting to me as I read this article um, of how many people don't feel like they matter, and how as a society we communicate more than ever, but we really aren't saying as much. We're talking but not listening. And it really clicked in me. And this was several months ago, I guess, not just recently, but and so I want to make sure that you know, I'm sure most of you have people who are telling you all the time that they appreciate you, but I want you to know from me that I sincerely appreciate all of you and I don't take it for granted. I'm not entitled to you listening. I got to earn that every single day. And so, just from me and my family to all of you, thank you, and we appreciate you. All right, let's dig in on the Raiders now. Also, one other quick thing. I apologize. Thank you to everyone who is subscribing, clicking, following, sharing. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you so much to all of you. We are growing exponentially. If you haven't done it, give us a click or a follow or a subscribe. Um, Appreciate it. As you know, we keep all of our content free. I think today at the website, we're going to have probably between 15 to 16 pieces of content that are all free. When you add in videos that we'll post on our YouTube or on our audio only sites, we're going to probably be well over 20 pieces of content. And it's all free. And we do, and obviously, people get paid. This is their jobs, but we're able to do that because you guys do subscribe, follow, share, and we really appreciate it. Now, if you don't follow me on social media, I'm on Twitter at Hondo Carpenter, at HondoCarpenter. And if you don't do that, maybe you do Instagrams or IG, excuse me. I'm on IG as Hondo SR. You don't spell senior, it's just SR, Hondo SR. Either way, thanks everybody. Really appreciate you. All right, now let's get into the Raiders. Have some interesting observations from yesterday that I want to dig in on. If you didn't see my video, go back and watch it. It's posted. Um, as you know, I told you, you can, and this is what I love about the digital age, you can go back and look for proof of performance. I told you when they drafted Tyree that they saw him as a long-term play, that with this injury, their expectation was him not to be 100% this year at all, which was wise because he wasn't going to be. But they were going to bring him along. They had Coons, they had Chandler Jones, who was going to start on the other side of Max. And because of obvious reasons, they've had to rush him along a little bit. Nothing wrong with that. He's getting better, and you can see it. I think the Chiefs game, not the Chiefs game, the Vikings game, he was extremely good. He wasn't great. I don't think he was an all-pro, but I thought he was extremely good, and he's getting better. Um, let's go back. Earlier this year, people were really complaining about his get off, which, if that was his get off, it was a terrible draft pick. The problem is he was probably playing around 50% when the season started, which is what their expectation was. So I just kept telling the people, relax, I get it. It looks terrible, and it does, but understand. And then recently, some people were saying, "Oh no, he's 100%. He's a bust," which I knew was not factual. Not saying that people lied. Just maybe that's just their opinion. But I asked him yesterday, and he admitted, "Yeah, I'm not 100%. It's gonna be probably sometime next year." But I thought the video was fantastic. I really like Tyree a lot, and go back. You may want to go back and watch that. I think you'll enjoy it. I want to also tell you about Devonta. Talking to Devonta, he used the word embarrassing to Sunday's loss, and it was. It was. I mean, let's not try to spin anything. Let's not try to turn chicken poop into chicken salad. It wasn't. It was embarrassing for the offense. Nobody should be embarrassed on special teams. Nobody should be embarrassed on defense. I know it's a team sport, but the one part of the team cost the Raiders, and it was offense. And one of the things that I like about Devonta, and there are a lot of things I like about him outside of football. I'm not going to get into those because it's irrelevant to you. Not that you don't matter, but you don't tune into me for that stuff. But one of the things I really love about Devonta is he's brutally honest and he wears his emotions on his sleeve. Now, I think he made a mistake by not sticking around Sunday as a captain and talking after the game. I understood why. I didn't think he was a bad person for not doing it. And certainly as a media member, I'm not entitled to anything. But I just think as a captain representing his teammates, you don't want to keep, the rookie has to go talk, but and I thought it was a mistake on his part. Didn't think it was a character flaw. Didn't think he was a bad guy. I just disagreed with it. I don't think you leave your rookie out there when you're a captain. I think you step up and talk too. But what I love about him is he wears his emotion right on his sleeve. You never wonder what he's thinking ever. And man, I like genuine people. We all have faults. We all fail. Man, I'm a grace addict, but I like people that are that way, that are genuine. And that's Devonta. And when he talked about it being embarrassing, and that he's still not over it. And you heard AP say, I'm throwing the film away, and which is AP's prerogative. He's head coach, he's a winner. But you heard Devonta, no, I'm not. I'm going through it. I, I thought I thought it was a great window. And again, that video's up too. You can go watch it. I thought it was a great window um, for you, the fan. And I want to explain this to you in detail why I felt it was a good window for you. When you're not around these guys every day and you're not talking to them and you're not there, it doesn't mean that you're less of a person. When I go in for my yearly physical at my doctor, I'm glad they're not at the Raiders. So whatever your calling is, whatever it is that you've chosen to spend your life and your calling or your career, God bless you. And so when you are around, remember I've told you before, I think my job is to gather what we see and then disseminate it to you. And one of the things that really stood out to me uh, about Devonta is you hear people say, "Oh, they don't care, they're making millions." No, no, there are some people, and it's all about the money. They don't care. I'm getting my money, and that's fine. Doesn't mean that they're terrible human beings. Some of you have jobs right now. You hate the job, but you need the money. Doesn't make you a bad person. I just hope and pray that you find a place where you can go plug in and where getting up every day and working isn't a dread for you. But you saw in that video that's not what it is for Devonta. This isn't a paycheck. I can guarantee you, and I know him. I'm around him. If you said to Devonta, we're going to cut your pay in half, but in exchange you'll get a Super Bowl, done. Done. He's made generational wealth. He's a winner. And that's his commitment. It's who he is. It's his character. I want to win. And I think that should say something to you. Now, that leads us to the next point. A lot of talk in the Raider Nation right now about tanking, playing Jimmy, not playing Jimmy. And I want to address this because I think this is really important. Now, obviously, I'm not God, so if you disagree with me, I'm not upset with you. I'm not angry with you. You can put in the comments, hey, this is why I disagree with you. I'm good with that. I'm good with that. When you're an organization whose motto is just win, baby, then you can't say to people, all right, take this off. Just stop. You have a coach that's competing and fighting to eventually get a job. That's not fair. If the edict came down from Mark Davis, okay, I want all the injured players and all of the high priced players who have contracts that are guaranteed for next year not to play. That's certainly his prerogative. He's the owner. But what's it say that you do to AP? Now, if he's already made up his mind, that's a different story. But it also, though, it sends a message that, okay, there are times when quitting is okay. So let's assume next year some star player or some really good player is on the last of their deal. Do they get to say then, all right, you know what, I'm going to quit because I'm probably not coming back here and it's better for me. I mean, you get into such a difficult area. On yesterday's show, which if you didn't see it, I thought it was fantastic. And not because of me, I thought Matt was fantastic. But on yesterday's show, I talked about a team that tanked, and it's a team that struggled to get a winning mentality back. And in my opinion, still struggling to get back to where they need to be, where they used to be. Um, but an edict comes down from an owner and you have to obey it. I just think it's a dangerous slope. And I want to get into yet another point of something Devonta said yesterday. Now, it reminded me of something Michael Jordan said. And I've also been told that Kobe Bryant said this, although I did not hear him say it. Devonta talked about all the people who save up their money to come to a game, and they couldn't score any points against Minnesota. And he said, I think about those people. I remember one time Michael Jordan, his team head into the playoffs. The season's just about over. I mean, they have nothing to gain with a win or a loss. A loss isn't going to hurt them. A win isn't going to help them. They were the best team. In fact, I think that year they went on and won the title, which I'm sure they did, but I'm not 100% certain. And Michael, a lot of people, oh, Michael Jordan will sit this out, let him rest, whatever. Here comes Michael Jordan. Never forget that. And he said, there are people who save their money to come see me play. Why would I sit? If I can play, I'm going to play. Why would I disrespect them? See, Michael remembered what it was like when he wasn't the star. Now, he certainly didn't live in poverty, but his parents weren't wealthy. And he knows what it was like to have to save money to go to stuff. So I'm going to say this to you. I know because I hear from you guys. And by the way, I love it. Thank you so much for emailing or whatever. But I know people who are Raider fans because they ask and say, hey, is there a chance we can meet you or whatever? Who are going to the Chiefs on Christmas Day. I think her name was Madison, but I don't remember. But I had a article, question and answer article a week or two ago from a little girl whose parents are taking the whole family to Kansas City for a game on Christmas Day. They do a big present for their family. Okay, so do you not play your players who can play? What about them? So you just show up in Kansas City without your team even putting a semblance of a fight together? That would be disrespectful to them. Now, if they come out and say this player's hurt, and if they play anymore, it's going to exaggerate the pain or exaggerate not the pain, but exaggerate the injury, don't play them. That's competitive and that's reality. But if somebody can play, I'm sorry. I understand that you disagree, and if you're a fan saying I want the better draft pick, I get that. I totally see your argument, and I believe that it's germane. I just don't um I don't know how to grab onto that. Now, I will say this. A lot of people have said to me, but what about Jimmy G? All right, they are still technically involved. Someone sent me this yesterday, and I have not verified it, but it was somebody that I trust. Um, Said that the Raiders had a 51% chance of making the playoffs if they win all their remaining games. Now, do any of us think that they're going to win? Yeah, I'm sure there are some of you that do think they're going to win every game. I think they could. Doesn't mean I think they will. But I think when you are still in the hunt, even though the majority of opinion is they're done, you still bite, scratch, claw, fight, and do everything that you can do. Because that's what you do. It's the integrity of the game. You do it for the game of football. Does that make sense? You do it for the game of football. You do it for your fans. You do it for you. You do it for you. You dig in there and do it for you. Hey, I'm going to give my best. I'm going to do my best. I'm going to dig in there and fight and scratch and claw and until the very end, I'm going to give my best. Now, I want to ask you this question because I obviously didn't grow up a Raider fan like many of you have. I grew up a Raider respecter. I mean, it was if it was Monday night, it was Raider. I mean, how many Howard Cosell? Most of you kids don't even know who I'm talking about. One of the greatest football announcers of all time, and it was Raiders. It just you watched it, and you always knew the Raiders were going to be several things. Number one, tough, tough. Number two, you knew they were going to compete. There was no quit in the Raiders. And number three, you knew that they were going to score points. Bueller. I'm sorry. Thank you for putting up with my quirky sense of humor. Just that makes me laugh. But you always knew that about him. All right, you know the toughness is back. I've told you the last since AP took over the physicality. I mean, look at what they did, to Justin Jefferson. Marcus Epps just tattooed him. There was so much big hitting, big hitting, powerful. Okay, they're not scoring points, and that's bad. But they are competing, and so for me, if they were out of the playoff contention, like last year, they didn't bench Derek till after the Pittsburgh loss when the playoffs were out of the question. I think you have to look at everything. Now, I had several of you email after yesterday's show, and I wanted to address this, asking me, uh, "Do you think Jimmy would be any better?" Yeah, I do. I'm not saying better than Aiden. I don't know that, but everyone else has seemed to have gotten better without the previous regime. So I think there's a good chance that Jimmy's going to be better. Jimmy has never been a bad quarterback until this year with the Raiders. I think that's important to mention. But there's a lot of people that look bad. Earlier in the year, Josh Jacobs looked bad. And so I think that has to be a viable option. I think you've got to look at what are we going to do about play calling? I don't care who you are, but whoever the offensive coordinator is, when you go against the Minnesota Vikings with all of your weapons and you can't score, you got to look at offensive coordinating, got to look at play calling, which AP is, and I'm going to ask him today about it if he's going to make any changes at quarterback or uh, play calling or anything like that. But I think you got to look at all of it, and I just think they're competing for a lot, and I don't think that that's fair to the game. I don't think it's fair to the fans. And I know there are fans that say, bull crap, I want them to tank. Okay, I get it. I understand. I'm talking about in totality. And I just think that's a fundamental. It's disrespectful to the game of football, and it's just and listen, there are people who will come on Thursday night who aren't fans of the Raiders because they want to see Devonta Adams, they want to see Max Crosby. That's cool. They are those type of players that generate that type of attention, and they deserve it. Okay, now I want to talk about Robert Spillane. I remember last year, and you go back and watch the videos and find what I wrote. I took severe criticism because I talked about how good he was, how good he was going to be, and now everybody sees it. I don't do that to Pat Hondo. I do it because I hope people now can see and understand his value. He's up for Pro Bowl, and I hope that Raider Nation is really showing up and voting for him. That guy is a complete beast of a warrior. And I hate to use that term because I come from a family of military and my father was a warrior, but he has that. I mean, he breaks a hand, keeps playing. So when I use the term warrior, I'm certainly not minimizing our men and women out there defending America. Um, but it's a mentality. It's a I'm going at it. I'm not quitting. I'm all out. I can probably think of a better term there. So I'll think about. He's a beast, and I love that about him. And you should too as a Raider. And I think that's really important that you get out there and reward that. I'm not. The team hasn't asked me. He hasn't asked me. That's just my personal opinion. I think you should reward it and go vote for him for Pro Bowl. Now let's talk about the game because Justin Herbert's there. There is zero excuse, zero for the Raiders to lose this. None. Okay. I don't think anyone saw the offensive performance that happened last week. So coming into the game, I think you could have said, wow, we're struggling, but look at who we played. And that would have been fair. Wouldn't have been an excuse, wouldn't have, it would have been fair. But they just tanked last week. And so I think coming into that performance but was bad. But they've had a couple days now to make whatever adjustments AP thinks to make. And there is no excuse for a loss here. None. This is all on the Raiders. If I'm Mark Davis and I'm evaluating AP, how my team performs uh, against the Chargers on Thursday night is going to tell me a lot, a lot. You go up and you compete and you fight like you did against the Chiefs the first time up there in Arrowhead on Christmas Day. All right, that's a justifiable loss. I can see it. Don't like it, but I can see it. But not this one. No excuse. Absolute. If AP is going to keep this job, must win. And I think they're going to win, by the way. I think they would have won if Herbert was healthy or not. But this is why this one is so vitally important. And lastly, I want to talk about this. AP on Monday talked about, I asked him, if you didn't watch the video, you can go back and watch it, about the deep ball and attacking. And he was very, as he always is. This is why I love interviewing him. He's always so transparent. He's like, I ask for it every week. I want it every week, and I'm going to continue to do that. So I asked Aiden yesterday, and you go back and watch. I said, AP's talked about it. He asked for it. He wants it. Why is this team not attacking much down the field? Is it the plays being called? Or is it failure to execute? And Aiden, again, very transparent. It's both. Okay. Fine. I asked Devonta about it. And he said, yeah, it's critical in this league. We got to be able to do it. So here's the deal. If I'm AP and that's what I want, I'm telling Bo and I'm telling Aiden, this is what I want. So if it's not getting called, you're replaced. And if it's not getting executed, and I can go back and watch the film and see guys were open and you didn't execute it, I'm replacing you. So head coaches do. And I think that we're going to see the Raiders. Am I thinking there's going to be 8 bombs? No. But I think you're going to see more of an attack down the field. Aiden has to quit holding the football so long. But if you go back to draft day and watch the videos or what I wrote, that was the problem then. Now, in fairness to him, he's much better. The problem is I think one of the sacks that he had on Sunday was on the offensive line. The rest were on him. The rest were on him. And he's got to get rid of that football. And that means finding where somebody's at. He has the arm strength to, even in the pocket, you can throw it away in the pocket. It's just got to be in the general vicinity of somebody. And that's what I'm watching for. Against the Bolts, I want to see, does the team adjust to what AP's asking for? And if they don't, does he replace them? That's head coaching stuff. So I'm really watching that closely. That's going to tell me more about AP's future than anything. Heretofore, everything I've seen has been very good from AP. Very good. When he made his first challenge fag mistake, the next time he made sure he had somebody upstairs telling him to challenge it. Now they were wrong. That's not on him. So I very much like that. I like how they're doing it. And those are some things that I want to see out of this game. Now, tomorrow we're going to get into a lot. In fact, tomorrow's podcast before the game is going to be very lengthy with a ton of really good information. But these are just some things I wanted to quickly touch on. I wanted to touch on Robert. I wanted to talk about competing. I wanted to talk about, I want to see how the team responds. And if they don't, or how does AP respond? I wanted to get in, that's with the deep ball and the attacking. I wanted to get into all of that. I think it's important stuff that we discuss. So there you go, everybody. I hope you're doing well. Thank you for joining us today. Again, tomorrow's going to be very lengthy, but I really think you're going to enjoy it. Remember, follow me on Twitter at Hondo Carpenter, at HondoCarpenter, on IG at Hondo SR, Hondo SR. And also want to remind you, if you don't want to watch the video, and who wants to look at me, you can go watch the audio on Spotify or on Apple. And also there, additionally, every day, I do a second podcast, which is 5 to 10 minutes called Riding with Hondo, in which I really give you some observation and some things that I'm seeing from inside the building. Or maybe I just got off the phone with somebody and got a tip, or I just got a text from a player, whatever. Anything that's like that, I do those. They're usually 5 to 10 minutes. I hope you're checking those out. So, from all of us here at Sports Illustrated's Fan Nation, Las Vegas Raiders Insider Podcast, part of the Fans First Sports Network, thank you for joining us. Again, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah. God bless all of you. I appreciate you, and we'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in. Let me put my glasses on sorry, old man problems. I can find out where to turn this thing off. Thanks.